So in the last video I created on this channel, I was actually homeless. That's right, homeless. Sleeping outside of my car, or inside of my car rather. And it is a little over a year later. The current date is, what is today's date? The current date is January 9th, 2026. And one of my last videos was in 2024, I believe. At the end of it, like around like November, December time, I was homeless. I'm happy to say that it's been a year and I have made multiple six figures at this point. A lot can happen when you choose to lock in. But let me tell y'all a little bit about this crazy journey, right? I decided that one day I was just going to wake up and go to it. That's a lie. I went to a conference in Atlanta. At this conference, I met a lot of people who made a lot of moolah. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, well, what's the difference between me making the money here and making the money there? Can't be no difference. I'm in Detroit. The city's thriving, not really, but it's coming back. This is what they always say every year. Detroit is coming back. Downtown is coming back. Maybe one day things will change, but downtown is coming back. Everywhere else is still the same. The hood is still the hood. So I went to this conference. And I talked to a couple of big name people who are influencers, who are multimillionaires. And one individual who happened to be from Chicago, I talked to him and we chopping it up. And I'm like, yeah, bro, you like a cousin dang there because Chicago right next to Detroit. If it's a little 3-4 hour drive, what's the difference between when you came down here versus when you was up there? And he had told me, he said, one of the biggest differences is we in rooms like this all the time. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, we're in rooms with people who are making tons of money, multimillionaires almost every day. There's events happening down here in Atlanta every single day. This is the place where you need to be at. And I was like, well, yeah, I've been thinking about moving. But like, is it really like that mandatory? I can't just do the same thing up there. He said it's mandatory. I said, mandatory? He said mandatory. So I'll go back to Detroit. And I'm inside of my apartment and I'm pondering on this. The whole time that I'm at the conference, I'm pondering. The flight back, I'm pondering. And I'm thinking. And I'm pondering. And I'm thinking. And I start to pack all of my things up. Every single thing that's inside of my house, pack it all up, put it inside of a storage unit. And I'm like, I'm leaving. And people thought I was playing. I said, I'm leaving. Now, I didn't have a plan. I did have a goal. My goal was to make multiple six figures, find a wife, and leave the country. The wife has not been found. Leaving the country has not been done, but the six figures has been here. When I left, though, I went to go pursue my dreams because I remember it was a quote that I heard from Dr. Eric Thomas. He said something that was very, very key. And I want y'all to write this down. If you're taking any type of notes, pay very special attention to this. He said, you have to be willing at any moment. Be willing at any moment to sacrifice everything that you are for everything that you could be. Be willing at any moment to sacrifice everything that you are for everything that you could be. And that's what I did. 11 days later, I was in Atlanta with an SUV full of my stuff, everything else inside of the storage. And I was down here in Atlanta looking for a place that I can put my things. Now, I didn't have no job. My business wasn't like crazy booming or nothing like that. I was probably making like a few $1,000s a month. But when I moved down there, that drastically changed because I didn't have an influence down here because I didn't know anybody. The first day I pull up to the actual storage unit, I couldn't actually get in because there was nobody that was there. So I had to find a different storage unit. I find a storage unit, put the stuff in there, and I'm thinking I'm about to just drive Uber for a while. What I didn't know is when you move from state to state, Uber makes it where you have to get re-verified. And I'm like, shit. They're asking for things like, what's your address? And I'm like, I don't have it. So I just send it back to the old one. They're asking for the insurance. I don't have any insurance for here. So I just gave them the old one, which luckily that I ended up going through. But what I didn't know was that this process was going to take almost 2 weeks. So I'm in there 2 weeks and I'm not making any money. Because my original plan was to come down here and I figured I could at least make $200, $300 a day driving Uber if I'm doing it all day. Because what else I have to do? I don't know anybody. I don't have a place to stay. I have no place to go, no place to lay my head. There's nothing to do but work. But I couldn't even do it. And the first couple of days, I had like some money and I spent it on a hotel for the first couple of days because I do also have sciatic nerve damage from a previous car accident I was in. So sitting down for a long period of time hurt. And if I'm not laying down properly, I couldn't heal. In fact, when I was in the process of going to physical therapy, I was homeless during the time after I actually got into the car accident. And they had told me like, where are you sleeping at? I told them I'm sleeping in the car, and they said it's gonna be a hard time even with the physical therapy for you to even heal because your body's not resting properly. You can't lay down in a certain position. You need to be able to stretch out. So there was times where I spent my last bit of money on like a hotel. But other than that, I was inside the back of my car with a twin size mattress that I folded up and put in the back seat of the after I laid the seats down and I laid down on that twin size mattress. I laid on that thing so many nights and I have videos and everything like that. And it's crazy because to think where I am now from that situation is it's just still so wild. But even during this process, what a lot of people don't really know is that I during this process, what a lot of people don't know is I was sleeping in the backside of a Planet Fitness, right? I was sleeping on like the side of the building. And one thing I found out was that Planet Fitness is no longer 24/7, it's 24/5. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So on Saturday and Sunday, after 8 p.m., they were closed. So at 2 and 3 in the morning, when I'm driving Uber, because I'm trying to get people that's on their late night shift or whatever it is, start closing at 2, whatever it is, and I get ready to go back, where do I use the bathroom at? Where do I shower? I don't have access to that stuff because originally Planet Fitness was my only plan. What I did find out was that they had hotels. So I go to hotels because they're typically open 24 hours and they have like a lobby in which you can go and use the bathroom there. So I started doing that. But through that process, I also discovered that the person who works at night don't typically work in the morning. So if the person who works at night don't work in the morning, they don't know who checked in at night. So the morning people have no idea who's supposed to be eating the continental breakfast. So I started changing my sleeping spot. My sleeping spot went from the Planet Fitness to the hotels where I'll go get the continental breakfast. And what I would do is every morning I'll get up out of my car, push the door open from the back seat and stuff like that, go in there, eat the continental breakfast, and then I put the put all my I probably got like some extra apples or bananas that I can eat throughout the day because I'll be driving Uber, and I put it in the back of the vehicle with me. I drive to the Planet Fitness, go work out real quick, get in the shower. After I get out of the shower, I go to the storage unit to go put the twin size bed back inside of the storage unit. And I take the apples and stuff like that, put it to the front seat, pull the seats up, make sure I vacuum everything, go to the quick car wash real quick because I know I'm about to be doing Uber all day. And I have the apples or whatever it was that I got from the continental breakfast to eat for the rest of the day while I'm driving Uber. And it's crazy to say that stuff out loud. But then I go and I drive Uber for 6 hours and I'll stop and I'll go to sleep for 6 hours. And the reason that I did that was because Uber says you can only drive for 12 hours. That's not true. You can drive for up to 18 hours. So what I did was I drive for 6 hours because you still need 6 hours of being offline before you can get back online for another 12 hours. So it's not that you can only drive 12 hours. It's that you can drive 12 hours and you need 6 hours of rest before you can go out there and drive more time. So I said, in order to maximize this, the amount of time that I could be making money, what I did was I drove for 6 hours. I slept for 6 hours. I woke up and I drove for 12 hours and I was only getting like 6 hours of sleep a day, and I drive for like 18, that equals 24 hours. So I did that consistently to the point that I was making enough money to be able to go get me a place. And luckily, my credit was in decent position. But the thing was, I didn't have check stubs. I had to try to prove things with bank statements because I was just sending the money straight from the Uber to my regular account, and that's how I was getting things done. And slowly but surely, things started to take off. And I finally was able to get a place. I got the keys to the place. I had nothing in there but the twin size mattress, a TV, and a sleeping bag, and that's all I had. But to me, that was enough. I recorded a video, and in the video, I had my keys, and I was like, "Look, I got the bed, I got this thing right here, which was the TV." And I said, "That's it. That's it. That's all I got." That's how you start making millions, man. And like, to think that I came this far in such a short amount of time. I didn't know how fast this was going to go, but locking in can really change everything for you. Now, there was something very in particular that I pivoted to that changed everything in my life and business instantly. Instantly. So much so that it took me from being on the verge of being homeless, almost evicted out of the last place that I was just in, to making over six figures in less than 60 days. It's crazy what actually happened. And I want to tell you all right now that if you really lock in and do some of these things, as a guy who went from homelessness to multiple six figures in less than a year, you can do this if you really lock in. And the thing that I did, I'm about to tell y'all on the next video because there is a lot that goes into this. I'm going to give y'all the story from step 1 all the way to step 101. What happened? How did I get here? What did I learn? I'm going to tell it all to you. So stay tuned because we got a long way to go. I'll see y'all soon.